Hello students and friends, I'm your Ram Singh present again with a new topic, that is the tribal resistance. So in this we'll study about the conditions, the background of the tribals and their condition during the British rule and what changed in their life. So all about this topic we're going to discuss today. Let us start without wasting time. So in the pre-British India, the tribal people usually inhabited in infertile, hilly, forested regions. They survived mainly on hunting and gathering. Some were animal herders and some practiced primitive cultivation. Tribal societies had their own social divisions and followed their own laws. Tribal occupations. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the occupations which were continued by the tribal people. So first of all, herding. Herding was the main occupation of the tribal people. So among the animal herders, the Van Gujars, Bakarwals and Gaddis of northern and northwestern India. They reared mainly sheep and goats and sometimes camels as well. Hunting, gathering and shifting cultivation, that is the another occupation of the tribal after herding. That is, some tribes lived by hunting, fishing, collecting forest products and practicing jhom cultivation, which is commonly known as shifting cultivation. So according to an official report from 1830, the Vaigals of central India were one such tribe, and after that their works were different from this as they fished in rivers such as using bamboo mesh called jhumar or a line with a hook. So it was their tool to fishing. Sometimes they dammed a stream to trap fish, and after that many tribes practiced shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation, you know that, a patch of land, cutting vegetation and after that sowing there till the fertility exhausts, and after the exhaust of fertility they move to another place or another piece of land. The Baigas called their plot bewars. Baigas called their plots bewar, and they prepared plot by first cutting down vegetation and burning it, after that in the ash sowing the seed of the crop. The Baigas avoided plowing as it was discouraged by their custom, right? So next, that is settled cultivation. Some of tribal people settled down permanently in some of the areas and cleared cultivation. The Mundas of Chota Nagpur, it is one example which settled at one place, and after that trade and other occupations. So after this, the trade and other occupation, the tribal people often traded handmade goods, forest produce and animal products for goods that were not readily available to them, such as rice, salt and cloth. So by exchanging these things they lived properly in their normal life. And after that, if we talk about tribal life under British rule, what changed in the British rule, now let us see what were the changes and what were their conditions by which they forced or by which they were compelled to do work under the Britishers. Let us know first of all what they were. As British colonial ruler expanded, many tribal areas came under its influence. British officials, Christian missionaries, planters, moneylenders, thekadars, those are called contractors, jamindar entered tribal areas in large number. This created various problems. First of all, loss of power. In pre-British period, tribal chiefs had the power to frame laws for managing their tribal land and forest. Some also had the power to collect taxes. So many powers mean to say that they were having many of the rights, but Marathas rulers paid haq to Bhil chief. Bhil is a tribal group to prevent Bhil raids on their territories. So that it was their right which they were getting from the Maratha rulers. And the British subjugated the Bhils. As the Bhil territory had hostile terrain, the British decided not to annex it. Instead, they recognized the Bhil chiefs as rulers who had accepted British paramountcy. The Bhil chiefs were made answerable to the British. Bhil agent for various things made such maintenance of law and order. In course of time, the chief lost their traditional forest rights. The chiefs of many Indian tribes met the same fate as Bhil chiefs. So indebtedness and loss of livelihood. Indebtedness and loss of livelihood. So Britishers' land revenue settlement were extended to tribal land and taxes were imposed on tribal produce. So by this they were compelled to take loan from the zamindars, planters, cultivators. So they were forced to work on their own land as laborers. So they lost their right of the land and they became only laborers on their own lands. Many tribals became agricultural laborers on their own lands. Many were forced into bat begari, labor without pay. In free, they were doing labor. After that, oppression of forest tribes. By the mid 19th century, the British took over huge tracts of forests as they needed large supplies of timber for shipbuilding, for making sleepers for railway tracks. They regarded shifting cultivators as wasteful practice, shifting cultivation as a wasteful practice, as it destroyed forest timber. And after that, British encouraged settled agriculture and tried to end shifting cultivation. The tribal people resident in these forests were prohibited from practicing shifting cultivation and using forest produce. They were stopped to do so. And after that, having thus taken away their means of livelihood, the British used them as cheap laborers for various tasks. And after that, some of the tribes like those northeastern hills of India protested against the reservation of forests. The protesters gradually became very strong, and after that some of them 20th century Sonaram Sangama of Garo tribe led the organized protest, after which the British had to declare some areas as unclassed forests. So it was their compulsion, it was their majburi to make those areas unclassed forests. Forest people such as the growers of silkworm cocoon in Jharkhand were exploited by middlemen called dalals. So they were taking part, some part of their livelihood or some part of their income. And after that, sometime tribals such as Baigas who carried forest produce to the market were exploited by petty British officials who took away their produce without paying. In Chota Nagpur, tribal people were recruited in large number of extract coal from the mines of the region. So it was their compulsion to do so work. And after that, tribal revolts. Let us discuss about tribal revolts. Indian tribals faced oppression throughout British rule, while some of the oppressed tribals migrated to other regions, some other took to robbery, and some tribal rose in revolt. Nature of revolt. Revolt led to the unequal confrontations between British troops armed with guns and tribal rebel armed with bows, arrows, axes and spears. So it was not the equal fighting or equal competition among them. There were tribal revolts in many regions of India. such as Santhals of Bengal, Mundas of Chota Nagpur, Bhils of central India, Khasis and Garos of northeastern India. So these all were in the revolts. After that, one of them, that is the famous revolt, it is called Munda Revolt. Munda Revolt, the leader was Birsa Munda. So Munda was their tribe and the Birsa was their leader who led the revolt. The Mundas were a peace-loving tribe of Chota Nagpur region, and under British rule they were denied this privilege by Dikus. Dikus were outsiders who controlled over them, such as moneylenders, contractors, Christian missionaries and British officials. These all were Dikus for them, outsiders. In the late 19th century, Birsa Munda led an armed revolt for independence of Mundas from colonial rule. And after that, Birsa Munda, let us know something about Birsa Munda. Who was he? Birsa Munda, he born in 1875 to 1900. It was his time period. Was probably born in Ulihantu in Ranchi, Jharkhand. He received some education from Christian missionaries, but later came under Vaishnava influence. As a young man, Birsa Munda became sensitive to exploitation of Mundas by the Dikus. He joined a protest against the taking over the village wasteland by Britishers. So he was in this revolt protest. And after that, in 1894, the failure of monsoon caused widespread starvation and epidemics. Birsa Munda's dedicated service to the people, starving people, and Sikh earned him the title Dharti Aba, means father of the earth, and the leadership of his people. As leader of Mundas, he demanded the remission of forest taxes. He was arrested and exploitation continued. He was arrested. After his release in 1897, Birsa led a movement which sought to establish an independent Munda state. He wanted his people to earn their livelihood in their traditional manner and improve their economic condition. He urged them to unite against the Dikus. It is said that Birsa claimed to have miraculous powers, chamtkari shaktiyan, by which he could turn gun and bullets into water. Birsa won many followers. His slogan was Abua Raj, Satejana, Maharani Raj, Tendujana. Right? Means let the kingdom of Queen be ended and our kingdom be established. It was the meaning, and they were speaking the slogan in their own language. The British came down heavily on Mundas during the last year of the 19th century. There were several armed conflicts between the British and the Mundas. Many Munda men and women fighting with bows, arrows and catapults fell to British bullets. Even children were not spared. Many Munda were arrested. Birsa too was arrested and imprisoned in the Ranchi jail, where he died in captivity. So it was the end and the fate of the tribals, and after that the Britishers continued their exploitation. So with this, our today's topic completes. See you again in next video with new topic. All the best. Thank you.